Hello, my friends. Within 3 months, the whim that made me buy a Jaguar, especially since I had a second car, even if it was temporarily immobilized, had flattered my finances. Only once has it been useful to me. At the beginning of 1972, I walked on Boulevard Saint-Germain. At the corner of my street, I see a beautiful Asian woman with luggage waiting for an unlikely cab. I approach her. She speaks English. She's an American of Chinese origin and has to go to Orly to take a plane back to the USA. Gallantly, I offer to drive her. My Jaguar makes a good impression. On the highway, she tells me that she is a photo model specialized for her hands and shows them to me. They are admirable, fine and delicate, with long fingers extended by carefully cut and red varnished nails. She explains to me that great models don't always have very beautiful hands. She comes then to position herself behind them, hidden for the objective, and advances her hand in the place of that of the star. On the photo, the illusion is perfect. She moves around the world to have her hand photographed. Along the way, the mutual attraction becomes greater and greater. I ask her if she has to take this flight now. She tells me no. She can leave the next day. Arrive at Orly. I turn around without stopping. Direction Gregor the True Street. By the way, this street used to have two different names. The part where I live was called Rue des Mauvais Garçons, Bad Boys, and the other part, crossing the Boulevard Saint-Germain, was called Rue du Cœur Volant, Flying Heart. Destiny could not have chosen a better name to this part of my life. We're going to dinner at a restaurant. We did not touch each other. We go home. We go to bed. I lent her a red satin kimono. She's adorable. She lies down without the slightest preliminary kiss, the slightest contact. I delicately spread the flaps of the kimono, kiss her pretty small chest, and continue to go down very gently to begin a love game as if we were all accomplices. The night was very beautiful. The next day, I drove her back to Orly for good this time. A very serious accident has just happened on the construction site. A worker who was not wearing his protective helmet, or thought it was mandatory, received a beam on his head, fracture of the skull. He died of it. As a result, the discipline that I was responsible for enforcing his licensing. No one is allowed to enter the site without a helmet. One day, 3 workers wanted to enter without their helmets. Despite my reminders, they refused to follow the instructions. The tone rises. I then went to the construction site to phone their company, the 3 on my heels. I find myself alone in the room with these 3 freaks who want to do as they please. They obviously had bad intention toward me. I am in a bad way. I am not reassured and fear to spend a bad quarter of an hour. Fortunately, the foreman who had seen the altercation from afar enters and interposes himself. He is tall, fat, and built like a fairground wrestler. Very quickly, the 3 troublemakers shut up, put on a helmet, and go to work. As soon As they leave, I call their company. The next day, they are no longer there. It was hot anyway. Life on the construction site can be quite hectic. The darn buggy is broken down again. I take the subway on line number 1. Between the station George V and Franklin Roosevelt, my gaze meets that of splendid Japanese woman. It was an immediate and mutual love at first sight. It is the only time in my life when it happened so quickly and so intensely. Destiny. She gets off at Franklin Roosevelt. Also, it's not my destination. I do the same. I approach her. She speaks perfect French with a very slight accent and a soft voice that makes her even more desirable. Masako is very refined and cultured. She comes from Kyoto, and her family tree goes back to the 6th century after Jesus Christ. She belongs to a very noble family and works in Paris in a Japanese import company. We see each other again very quickly. It's passion, it's hot, it's crazy. No one else exists anymore. There is only her. She's not always available, but we see each other whenever she can. Several times I offer her to spend the night with me, but she can't. I respect her privacy and don't ask her any question. Once, however, she offers to spend the whole weekend with me. I am so happy. On Monday morning, I accompany her to her work in my buggy, which ran once for once. As she about to get off, I see a young guy coming my way. I am her husband. I want to talk to you. The sky is falling on my head. I did not know it. She gets out. I park the car and join them in a cafe. Her young husband, he is 5 years younger than her and looks even younger. He's very dignified, very fair play, apparently calm. Masako, like many Japanese women, wanted to escape from Japan and the difficult situation in which women are locked. It is one of the most macho countries in the world. When she arrived in France, in order to stay there, she had to find a husband. Only with the liberation of morals, the experienced men that she would have needed were no longer getting married. So she met this young man from a good bourgeois family, well brought up, but without any experience of life, and especially of female sexuality or in the nuances. With me, she had found what she needed. We were the same age and had a lot in common. We were only at the beginning of our relationship, not yet committed enough. I only lived in a small studio, and she had a nice apartment. He asked her to choose between him and me. On the one hand, passionate love, but also adventure. On the other hand, serene love and security. She made the choice that most people make and preferred security. I was hurt but realistic. I understood that I could not allow her to live with the same comfort. As our story had not lasted very long, the wound was not too deep. Several days later, she called me and told me that her company had received an unexpected batch of motorcycles that they were selling at a much lower price. Knowing my taste at that time for beautiful machines, she proposed me to buy one, taking advantage of this exceptional opportunity as a farewell gift. So I bought a beautiful red Kawasaki 350, the star of the moment, a real bomb. I could have chosen a 750, but I was a little afraid it could be too dangerous for me. I took the opportunity to sell the buggy. It was working well at that time, but it had cost me a lot of money, time, and anger. In 1 year, it had had 5 engines. Volkswagen engines were known for their reliability when pushing a heavy body, but revving them up quickly with such a light buggy made them age prematurely.